Darryl, how would you like to change the Duke of York's association with the city?
Good morning. I think we'd like to remove it entirely, at least with the current Duke of York, Prince Andrew. I think it's been, as the case developed and as the allegations came out, it's been a constant growing source of, well, I guess shame for the city, really. Obviously, local government has no powers in these matters, so what we're planning on doing is submitting a motion to council on the 24th of March to get council's consent to do even more lobbying, to remove his title, Duke of York, but also then vote to remove that title of honorary freedom of the city, which he was given in 1987.
Now, Darryl, obviously Prince Andrew hasn't admitted any guilt. He's not been found guilty of any particular crime. Is it really appropriate to do that for somebody who hasn't actually been found guilty of anything?
I take that point, and I think previously when people said, should we wait for him to have his day in court, I did have a lot of sympathy with that view. However, we'll never have that day now because it's been settled out of court. And similar to what we've seen with those military patronages, the royal household recognised that it was bringing serious reputational damage to those institutions he was linked to. And I think we're just saying in York that it's a city of 200,000 people and it's bringing reputational damage to us as well in a similar way. And so we really need the royal household and Parliament to act together to remove this title. I think many people, when we woke up to the news that he'd been stripped of all his titles, many residents assumed he'd also lost the Duke of York title. And it seems absurd, really, that he retains that title yet loses all the others.
And is this something that's really important to people in York, or is this just the view of politicians and the local MP? How do we know that the public back you on this?
It's a good question. So our local paper, York Press, did run a poll of residents, and 88% of people supported removing the title Duke of York from Prince Andrew. Obviously, that's a straw poll, if you like. And you only have to look at my inbox to see many residents getting in touch and saying they support the call. No way am I saying that this is the most important thing residents are discussing in York, from cost of living crisis to energy bills going up, to obviously the concerning reports over in Eastern Europe. I think there's many other things that people are waking up on their Saturday morning, chatting with neighbours about. However, it's right that as local councillors and our MP has acted, it's right that we do make the point across and lobby, like we are doing today, to make sure that we remove the title Duke of York from Prince Andrew. We are proud of our connections with the monarchy in York, and I think it's something that goes back to hundreds of years, and we're very proud to have had and have the Duke of York title and that dukedom. But institutions right across the city are really reflecting now on what that means. So York Racecourse is renaming the Duke of York Stakes to the 1885 Duke of York Stakes to reflect that actually that race was named after Prince George whilst he was Duke of York. So I think we're all doing a bit of digging. It's not just the council lobbying.
Councillor Darryl Smalley, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Now, Angela, it seems to get worse and worse. This is the Queen's big year. She's got this hanging over, and whilst York's calling him to lose the sort of Duke of York and also the freedom of the city, there are calls now as well for him to have the removal of the Councillor of State, so he couldn't even stand in for the Queen at all. No royal duties whatsoever. So how is the Queen coping? There's other things going on as well, but how is she coping with this Andrew saga?
Well, poor woman. I mean, she's lost a husband of 70 years. And if you look at her closely, you can see that she's aged enormously in this short time. She's obviously heartbroken and her body has sort of shrunk. And I don't see that it's kind or it's winning a point to do something like this for a woman who's 95. I don't mean that Prince Andrew shouldn't be dealt with properly, but I think when people start jumping on the bandwagon, oh, this is good, you know, let's cancel this thing, let's cancel that and take it away. It seems to be an increasing habit in the country. You want to close down a school, you want to close down the monarchy, you know, they want to make things all their own way. But the one thing I do agree with is that Prince Andrew shouldn't be a stand-in for the Queen. She has two extra people. One is Prince Andrew, one is Prince Harry. There's others too, but those two would stand in for her at meetings and sign documents. I don't think either of them should be doing that. It seems that in comparison, being Duke of York is nothing. I don't think you can have people who've actually lost their title to stand in for the Queen on could be quite serious
So that calling
documents.
today for the removal of the Councillor of State,
I think
you
that's
would agree
right.
with that?
Totally.
But do you agree with people now investigating where did that £12 million come from that he managed to pay off the court case and give a donation to charity? They're looking at the Queen's money. You know, is any of this from the public? And they're investigating it more. And wouldn't any mum, if they had the resources, stand in and help the son? That's sort of putting more pressure on the Queen with that as well. Do you think that's fair?
Well, he hasn't actually paid it yet. He's got 30 days to pay it, and if he doesn't pay it, there could be a court case again. So that's where we are at the moment. I think that the Queen is usually keen on her sense of being dutiful than she is being a mother. But occasionally it's the other way round. And this is an example of that she does love him. She might be absolutely appalled, I'm sure she is, appalled of what's happened. But nonetheless, it's very difficult for mothers. If you are a mother, you know that. You love them in spite of things that are happening in their lives. And I think
she's got her other son as well, Charles, now. This is all coming to the front.
And her grandson as well, all of which is very painful and very hard. You could see she said to somebody who came in to see her in Windsor, a small job she had, and said that, you know, I can't move. So her body's actually freezing up, and I wonder whether that is because she's so tense and stressed about it.
How serious is this investigation into Charles's charity, do you think?
Well, I think I'm very surprised by it. I've spent a year with Prince Charles following him around for his 70th birthday, and I've never seen a more generous, kind man. And I went up to Dumfries House, which is one of the problems of this money, that this Saudi Arabian Dr. Mahfouz invested £1.5 million to help him with Dumfries House. But what is created is loads of small huts, beautifully furnished out, with an A to Z opportunity of studying anything you want. Lots of these people have come off the street. It's not for his pocket. It's so that they can be apprentices, what's it word? Lost my... Apprentices.
Apprentices. Oh, apprenticeship.
Apprentices.
Right. I wasn't sure where you were going there, but never mind. We got there in the end.
Yeah.
But the issue was that money wasn't donated for charitable purposes. People are now saying it was a sort of cash for a title, and that's what people are looking into. And his own son, Prince Harry, said when he was dealing with the same Saudi billionaire, oh, I'm moving away from him. It isn't right. It isn't, you know, I'm not going to be entangled with this chap. And that's what his own son said, Prince Harry, in 2015.
Frankly, I don't believe anything that Prince Harry is saying at the moment, frankly. This is not the Prince Harry before he left the royal family. This is a Prince Harry who's now totally against the monarchy, wants to destroy it all, and will do anything he can to do so. So I think I put that one to one side for myself. But I think that what he did was create something that is marvellous for the country and for people who are suffering. And I think that if you award them something for that, there's no reason why not. Hundreds of years ago, kings gave people lots of land to build on. And I think that this is a similar, more modern version.
Angela, why we love you is because you are so fair. You say it like it is. You know, Andrew shouldn't be able to stand in for the Queen. We should, like, adore the Queen because she's wonderful. And, you know, and people need to look at what Charles is doing. He's doing all the support for apprenticeships and he's doing lots of good charitable things.